Well, hello, welcome back to Tome Travelers. This is Erica's voice here to guide you. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do this or not, but people are still doing top 10 lists or lists of 2020, so I decided, yeah, I might as well go ahead. Even though it wasn't a full year for me in reading, because I kind of started in January. I did start in January, but it was very slow. I hadn't really discovered booktube until at least spring, and that's when I started getting going. Then I did my channel, and so here we are. As you can see, this is my bullet journal, and yes, those are my goals for 2021. No, I'm not trying to get to 81. I just did all the boxes. I'm only trying to get to 40. That is my real goal. After 40 is just extra. I'm not trying to get to 81. But that would be cool because that'd be funny because my goal is 40. I have 81. I was born in 81. So yeah, I'm just being silliness. So far I've read 2 books. But I'm not here to talk about this yet. Whoops. I'm here to talk about my top 10 of 2020 with these 2 as honorable mentions. So let's get started with honorable mention number 1. I am sorry that there's a glare because of my light. Very bright. And these are little 3x2 pictures that I got off of my little photo printer. I just recently bought one, and these are a lot bigger than I expected, so I had to compensate and redo my bullet journal a little bit, but that's okay. But this is... maybe that'll help. Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth by Sheila O'Connor. This is a middle grade book. This was the first middle grade book I read in 2020, and it had been the first middle grade in a very long time. As I got older, you don't think that, oh, you can still read a YA or a middle grade, that's just for kids. Well, what's the series of unfortunate events if not kind of a middle grade, maybe a YA? I mean, and I was older. I think I was like early 20s, possibly. I'd have to look at the year. But this is about little Renee, who moves to, I want to say Minnesota, but it's a state that starts with an M. I could be wrong. And she's a delivery girl, paper girl. And she leaves notes, but she really gets in contact with Mr. Marsworth. And they start writing letters back and forth. And it's really cute. And it made me cry ugly, because of the twist in this that I didn't see. I'm like, oh, wow. But I also, this poor old man's all alone and everything, and that just saddens your heart because, old people really shouldn't be alone. Most old people are very, very nice people. And this takes place during Vietnam War, and she doesn't want her oldest brother to go to war. And so she's trying to get him into college and blah, 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 blah. And this is a really overall good book. You want to cry, you cry with this book. But it's a very good book. It broke my heart. It's kind of a little bit of a historical fiction when it comes to Vietnam, because I did ask my mom, do you remember this? This happened. She's like, yeah, they did that. Yeah, she's like, even if you went to college after you graduated, the draft could still come for you. So that's when you should be a doctor. Then they can't come for you. But, I knew that some people were they said they called them deserters, they ran away. Well, if you didn't get a choice, man, that ain't fair. You should always get a choice whether you want to go to war or not. That was uncalled for back in that day. But, yeah, this is a good book. I recommend this. This is why it's an honorable mention. Didn't make the top 10, but it's definitely an honorable mention. So the next one is A Whole New World. Which one? By Liz Braswell. It's one of the first Twisted Tale. And it's the Twisted Tale for Aladdin and Jasmine. So yes, it does. The first few chapters is like the movie, and then it gets into it with the twist. And wow, this was the first one I read in 2020 in January, and it's a young adult, by the way. And I'm like, wow, that's blue. It's blue on camera, but this is really a beautiful dark purple. That's funny how that color shows up weird. But this got me back into reading. I basically kind of stopped a lot of things in my life in 2010 when I started dating my ex. Then during that time we got married, had children, and then by September of 2017 I kicked him out, and by November of 2018 we were officially divorced. And I still did not have time for there was still stuff going on because of visitations and his parents, and I'm still dealing with other things in my life that have to do with my ex's parents. I just want to say something really quick. They were never in our lives when we were married and had kids or anything. The reason why they were ever involved in my children's life was when we got divorced, and he had to have supervised visitation, and they were the supervisor. So, but this, and also I had moved into my parents' house in March of 2019, so it'll be 2 years coming up. And, packing up a house, moving everything, and then just getting settled. I mean, that's rough. But this book, that's why it's an honorable mention. It's the first book I've read in many years. I have tried to, and I was with Book of the Month since 2016. And I didn't read any of those books. I wanted to. I would pick up a book and I just couldn't do it because of the place that I was at. And then I said to myself, I've got to read. I have so many books. I keep getting more books. I'm just acquiring books that, will I ever read? I don't want to be too old to not read these. I mean, get to a point where it's like, oh my god, I'm near death's door and I haven't read any of these books. What the hell? That was a waste of my life, So I said, I looked at all the books that I had, and I have a lot. And I said, I gotta get reading. And at that time, I really wanted to read these Twisted Tales. So this brought me back, and I have not stopped. So here we go with number 10, which is Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book. And I participated, can't even talk. I participated in Believe-a-thon 3 of last year in November. And this is a middle grade, and this is not plot driven at all. This is more character development. I mean, there's definitely plot, but it takes place, of all things, in a graveyard, and I love it. I love this whole supernatural element. I just loved where this story went because I didn't know where it was actually going. I did. There's spirits, there's witches, I almost want to call it an elemental. And then his godfather or whatever, I know what he is. I ain't gonna say what he is, but I have an idea of what he is. That's why he can do what he can do. There's werewolves, there's goblins, or trolls. Goblins, I mostly think. And the antagonist, wow. And you just see this from the time he's a toddler till he's a certain age and then has to leave. Yes, He has to leave eventually. I'm sorry if that was a spoiler. Okay, that might have been a spoiler. I'm sorry. But I do want to, I wish he'd write a sequel. See what happens. I mean, maybe you can't. But does he ever return? Is he allowed back in? Blah, 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 blah. You know, that may not make a great book. That's why there's not a sequel. Dang it. But that was a really good book. That's my first Neil Gaiman book that I've read. So, number 9 is another Twisted Tale. It's As Old as Time. That's also by Liz Braswell. This has to do with the Beast. What if Belle's mother cursed the Beast? Because we don't know who Belle's mother is. Did she die? Did she walk away from the family? Or did she have to go somewhere and get lost and never come back? I mean, here she's the enchantress. And this was definitely the theme for 2020. Yeah, you wouldn't believe so, but it was. There was racism in here because there was people who had powers, like Belle's mother was an enchantress. There were other ones that had magic and whatever. And then there were just regular people. And so there was a divide. And of course, there's to me, I look at that and go, wow, that's just like systemic racism that's going on in the U.S. right now. That's what that is. And then, of course, there was a pandemic in here. So I'm like, wow, that's the theme of this year. But there was other things that went on in this book that were really good. I also am partial to Beauty and the Beast because that is my favorite Disney movie. And damn it, one day I'm going to have a library like Belle's. I swear to it. Or come darn close. I want a room that is just wall-to-wall bookshelves. I would love it. I would love it. I want to have my own house and have one room dedicated to a library. Because I have a library. But this was a definitely good book. I really enjoyed it. I love that in some of these, there is no happily ever after, you would think. And sometimes if it looks like a happily ever after, it's more like a mediocre ever after. You really don't know if it's going to be a happily ever after. You don't. That's why I like it. I like the darkness of Disney. Give it to me. Oop, I have to pause this for a minute. So, let us continue. I had to turn the page, pause it, and cover those up. So, let us see. Number 8. Oh, here we go. Ooh, In the Hall with the Knife by Diana Peterfreund. That's not working. Okay. Maybe. The light and the shiny cover. Well, anyways, this is a Clue mystery, and it was the first book. I have the second book, In the Study with the Wrench. I haven't read it yet. And then I have no idea when the third one will come out, but I will look. Yes, it's based on the board game. It's based on the movie. There are some lines in there that are from the movie. Some things that were described, some of the quotes, and I'm like, oh my, I would literally, if there was a quote, I'd start laughing. I literally would start out loud laughing. Because I'm like, oh my god, that was in the movie. And although the one wasn't said, it had my favorite quote, almost. Flames on the side of my face. I love you, Madeline Kahn. You rest in peace, my love. And so this is a young adult. And they're teenagers stuck at, a boarding school. And the mansion that they describe, oh my god, it's just like in the movie. And I'm like, I just see it in my head going, yep, that's like the movie. And I love it. And did I know who was the killer? No, that was actually, I think I picked up on it closer to the reveal of it, but I had no clue. I was suspecting somebody totally different. Yeah, it was good. So I am excited for the next one. I am hoping to read it sometime this year. Just don't know when. So, yeah, I really like this book. I am forgetting how many stars I have given these books. Most of them are probably 4 to 5 stars. I'm not really familiar right now. I don't have it on me. I should have done that, but I can always go back, I'm sure. So I gotta be careful. Number 7, I don't want to reveal that side. Number 7 is Martha Wells' All Systems Red, the first book in the Murderbot Diaries. Should it be higher? I'm sure. But this was my first dive back into sci-fi. I am not sure how... I think I'm more fantasy than I am sci-fi. And so I'm not sure what I want out of sci-fi. But I want this, because I love this. It's under 200 pages, about 174, 175 pages, so it's basically a novella. Oh my god. It did not stop from the moment I started reading page 1 to the moment it ended. That journey never stopped. It was just a roller coaster. You just already passed the hill. You're still going down the damn hill. And just didn't stop. And that was beautiful. And I can't wait to read more. I have to get the second book yet. And I'll go from there. But I really enjoyed this. It came highly recommended. You want to get into sci-fi, read this book. I recommend this highly. This I do remember was a definite 5-star. Oh yeah. So number 6 was a middle grade, Hello Universe by Erin and Trotta Kelly. Also was read during Believe Upon 3. Now I know why this one's a little lower. Hello Universe took me by surprise. I cried. I felt seen in this. I was 11 years old, the same as this young man here, when I got bullied. And although this represents many different cultural genders, yeah. I felt seen. I got bullied when I was 11, and it took a year and a half to get pretty much unbullied. And took a year and a half to stand up for myself. Reading this took me back to a dark place, yes. But when I read this, it made me happy, it made me sad, it made me hopeful and inspired. And if you've ever been bullied in your life, read this book. If you have a child being bullied, let them read this book. You know what? Just read this book. It's a middle grade, I understand. But if you've been through a piece of hell, this book is for you. Middle grade or not. So number 5 is Final Girls by Riley Sager. Also, now I know why this one's a little lower. I am at heart a thriller girl. I was raised on horror and thriller and mystery. That is my core. But I am now realizing I love fantasy a whole hell of a lot better. It's just, I did some sort of stats this for 2020 a little bit, and fantasy was way up there than thriller. But we'll see by the end of this year where it stands, because it wasn't a full year. But this was his first book. This book fucked with me. I did not see that ending coming. I had already made up my mind who it was, although I flip-flopped in this book. I thought, oh yeah, I know who it is. I can't wait to see what this happened. Wrong. Never saw it coming. That twist. I'm like, what? No. What? No. what? And then when they told me, and it connected, right, and I'm like, why didn't I see this? What the frick's wrong with me? Why didn't I? I'm good at this. I almost figured out Agatha Christie's when I read, and then there went on. I had two people in mind on who did it, and at the end of the book, I thought I was right. Wrong. It was my second choice that did it. Close. I think I'm getting older and my brain's getting stupider and not being able to figure these things out where I used to be able to figure these things out. Or writers are just getting better at being secretive. Because I'm upset. That's why it was so, there was probably some lulls in that book, I'll tell you that much, but for the most part, wow. Now I see where you come from, Riley. And I have all your books so far, and I'm going to get the next one called Survive the Night on June 29th. So we come to number 4, which is Arusha and the End of Time. Let me see if I can't. That ain't going to work. So I am sorry for the glare. By Roshani Chakshi. This was also a middle grade book that I read during Beliefs-a-thon 3. This was everything. This is everything. I can't wait to pick up the rest of this series. And the 4th book drops in April 6th. This entire adventure, I do love Hindu Indian culture. I love that whole thing, and I'm learning more about it. And this was great. I totally love the adventure. She is a great character for sure, Miss Arusha. And I know why she does what she does, and I mean, she's funny. There is a little bit, some cultural references, I guess. It doesn't matter to me. But I love it. I love this adventure. This was pure fun. And she had a friend along, well, who wasn't her friend, but was another Padva. I think it was a Padva. Pandava or whatever. And it's they're sisters. And the other sister had flaws and everything, but they complemented each other. And a pigeon. This one dude came back as a pigeon. I love it. But I love the camaraderie. I love that they had differences or something, and they broke apart, and then they came back together, and just this whole adventure. I got interrupted, so now I don't know what I was saying. They were supposed to be celebrating. My boys. Youngest is a night owl, and I don't know why. So back to the list. This was hard. These 4 were hard. Well, not this one, but the rest of them. But here's number 3. Let me fix something. There we go. An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. That was a very good book. A very good book. It was a journey into somebody else's shoes. And I definitely would recommend it. There is definitely trauma. There are definitely content warnings, for sure. But I just love I want to say this. The way it was written was very beautiful. And it was, to me, it spoke on a higher level to my brain. It was very intelligent writing. I have to say, not like none of this was, but this one especially, the way it was written, the words that were on that page, I mean, felt like it was definitely written to be like that. I mean, it was on a higher level. This is a book on a high level of writing to me, in my opinion. Because when I was reading it, I'm like, this is... I mean, they do grade levels, like your grade level whatever. Like, they use letters. I go, this is, like, beyond that. And you have to take your time with this book. You have to read it slow, because you want to get everything. And I didn't get everything, I'm sure. So whenever I go back and reread this, there will probably be more that I will be learning and picking up. But what I got from it the first time around, wow, that was a journey. I was hoping by the end of that there would be a sequel, because I want to know what happened to the main character, Aster. I want to know what happened on that spaceship, because this is a soap opera, space opera, sorry. And they're on a ship, and with many different levels, or decks, I should say. And this is wow. And I want to know what happened after. I really want to know. Did things change? And you got to read this book. And if you read this book, you got to get the other book called The Deep. And there's one coming out May 4th called Sorrowland. I am so picking that up. That is my birthday month. In fact, that's 2 days after my birthday. My birthday is May 2nd, so it comes out 2 days after my birthday. Anything coming out May 4th, I'm going to pre-order. Be like, happy birthday to me. But I think River Solomon's is going to be an auto buy for me. The Deep is still on my wish list. I'm trying to acquire books with gift cards, and if I have it in the budget to do it, then I usually will pick 2 books that month. But I will be able to get a gift card this month. As of tomorrow, I'll be able to acquire a $100 gift card, and hopefully I'll get it in a day or so. So hopefully Saturday or Sunday I will have it, and then I can go shopping for a lot of books. But this, I want people to read this book. I highly recommend this book. You need to read this book. So, number 2, Another Twisted Tale. Reflection by Elizabeth Lim. And this is what if Mulan had to travel to the underworld. Sorry, I did a close-up. Hang on a minute. I said hang. I said interruptions galore, I swear. Okay. This was my favorite out of the Twisted Tale so far. I really enjoyed it. I love that she had to go to hell to go rescue what's his name? I forgot what his name was in Mulan. So I think what really made it, besides taking a trip down to hell, and it's China hell, you know, everybody has their own version of hell, like the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians. So I like a good mythology in hell. I love that kind of stuff. What made it was the character Shishi. Shishi is a lion and a familiar, like Mulan has her ancestor familiars. Shishi is her love interest's familiar. That lion, I'm telling you, I love it. And what's really funny, I imagine it is the pink lion from Steven Universe. I don't know why. And pink is my favorite color. I just love that it's called Shishi and it's a boy, and that journey through hell was great. I love this journey. Out of all the Disney movies, I like Mulan a lot better than some of the other Disney princesses movies. But if they would have made this as the Mulan movie, it would have been way better than the Mulan movie that we have right now. They should have done this. I really like this. This is, I love Journeys into Hell and blah 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 blah. That's a movie. You have me there. You sold me there. I want it. That should have been the movie. I get why it is the movie that it is, because it's historical fiction, I believe, and I don't don't know. I love this better than the old movie. This is great. I loved the journey. It was great. The deprecation, the self-doubt, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I loved it. Best twisted tale so far. I have much more to go. I am stuck at Frozen, which is Conceal, Don't Feel. And then I know I've got the one after that, I think, is Straight On Till Morning, which is Wendy. And then it's, I think So This Is Love, which is Cinderella. And then Unbirthday, I think, is after that with Alice. Unbirthday came out last year in September. We will now have 2 coming out this year. They like to do 2. One at the beginning of the year, near the beginning of the year, and then one near the end. So they did that last year. So This Is Love came out in April. Unbirthday came out in September. We have Go the Distance, which is based on Hercules, which has Megara. That comes out on April 6th, I believe. And then now they finally announced the September one, September 21st. We're getting the one with Rapunzel. I don't know what her real name is. I've watched Tangled maybe once in my life. Okay? Don't come for me on that one. But I've seen Tangled. It was a cute movie. So we're going to have that one come out in September. So if you haven't, seriously, pick up all the Twisted Tales. They are really good. They're not. Most of them are really good. I did not care for Mirror Mirror, which had to do with Snow White. It felt rushed, and that was Jen Kalanita's first book into this series, because mostly it's been written by Liz Braswell and Elizabeth Lim. Jen Kalanita is new to this. So I'm hoping her writing gets a little bit better. I mean, she did write a good... What I liked about Mirror Mirror was that the backstory of the Wicked Queen. What I didn't like was the rushed character development of Snow White. She could have made the book longer if she wanted to. Or she could have left some crap out that wasn't necessary. But, I get how Once Upon a Dream was made, which was Sleeping Beauty. That was a lot better than Mirror Mirror. However, it was a little... I understand why it was slow. I get it. But number 1 will be no surprise to anybody, if you know me. Oh, City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I love this book. When a book grabs me and won't let go, that is how I know it is my favorite. Not to say any of these aren't, because these are my top 10. This one grabbed me, would not let go, didn't want me to go potty, didn't want me to eat, didn't want me to go to work, didn't want me to do anything but read it. And it was very hard at times to put this book down. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to go to work. Really, and I would take it to work, and I'd read it and still be like, do I have to clock into work? Can't I just hide under my desk? Nobody can find me. I'm in a corner anyways. You can't even see me. No, I'm not here. I'm under my desk, but nobody has to know. I can clock in, or I could just clock in and then hide. And I was thinking of ways of how do I get out of this so I can just read the hell out of this book. It was a very good adventure. I really enjoyed it. I can't say enough about it. S.A. Chakraborty, you are my queen. As of right now, you are the queen. I have the other 2 to read. You're probably going to break my heart. I've heard that there will be breaking of hearts, and you will be very, very heartbroken and all this stuff. And I want to go through that journey. I want to cry my eyes out. Because it's beautiful. And I do know that she is coming out with a new trilogy, and the first book will drop in 2022. I don't know what it's called. There's no titles. It's just the first book comes out in 2022. So I'm looking, because I wanted to see if she wrote anything else besides the Devabad trilogy. And she hadn't, but I saw that books were coming. And I'm like, she's got a new trilogy? Oh my god, what's it going to be about? Ooh, I'm excited. So, yes, this is my top 10 of 2020. I really hope you enjoyed it. I will leave links to these books down below if you would like to purchase them. If you do, I will get if you follow those links, I will get a very small commission, but you will be helping out local bookstores. So I thank you for your time, and please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for more stuff by me. I really hope you are having a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is where you are. And I will see you soon. So please stay safe, please stay healthy. Know that you are definitely blessed. And know, as always, no matter what, you are loved. Bye.